Guess who I have in the house? It's Maddie Mad About Money.
Hey guys.
So excited you're here, and even more thrilled that you are here because you are going to be one of our esteemed speakers for Funnelcraft.
So exciting. I love it. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. I wanted to turn speaking events that are live in person on their head and just flip them around to suit me because, quite frankly, I love going to them, and then sometimes I can't get there or things happen, brain or otherwise, with an ADHD brain. But what happens to me is quite often I go to an event and I take tons of notes and then I put them on the drawer and I leave them. But we're not doing that here, are we? That's not what you're doing
No,
in your session, are you?
no, we're going to get people to do actionable things which help them. It's going to be great.
So tell us, what are we talking about? Because I introduced you as Mad About Money, and I think that gives a
Yeah.
clue.
Yeah, so I'm an ADHD money and business specialist. So I help people to sort their personal finances to have a better business, essentially. I also help people to make more money in their business by showing up, being visible, and doing extra things. Not burning ourselves out though, because self care is also equally important. But you can't have a good business if you haven't got your foundations built properly. And it's really, really difficult, especially when you first start out, to actually know what things to invest in and what to
Yes.
actually where to put your money. So that's what we're going to be discussing as the main event. Also how money shows up for people who have got ADHD because
Yeah.
it's very difficult. There's ADHD tax, there's impulse spending,
Yes.
um, spending is something when you have ADHD that does come as a problem in business as well, mainly because of the fact that we have brains that love learning, so we're
Yes.
constantly wanting to learn, and
Yes.
that can mean that we end up spending too much money on self improvement and maybe not doing the things that we're supposed to be doing.
Oh, I
So
feel seen. I feel seen.
yeah. So a little bit of background about me. I struggle and have done. I'm actually a recovering spending addict. So I have spent years and years and years understanding my brain. I was in £40,000 of debt in my early 20s. I paid that off using all of my own methods before I knew I had ADHD. When I
Mhm.
got my ADHD diagnosis, I started learning more about my brain. I became a neurodiversity specialist. Again, I like courses, I like qualifications. So I went and did my neurodiversity, I did my business strategy course, and all of these other things.
Yeah.
And I actually had a catastrophically failed business, which ended up with me being in nearly £80,000 of debt, 40 of
Oh,
that with personal
Maddie.
guarantee. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. The stress at that time must have been phenomenal.
I
Crikey.
don't know. Yeah, well, yeah, I had a nervous breakdown, and I didn't want to be here. Being completely honest,
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
some incredibly dark thoughts, and it was a
Yeah.
very, very difficult time for me. I've actually just written a book about it, which is due out in March. Very exciting. ADHD, money, and me.
Nice.
But it was do you know what? Fail forward, right? So
Yeah.
at the time, it was such a big failure. I fell out with loads of people. I owed loads of people money. I was getting constantly chased. I had court orders and debt collectors letters and all sorts, and it was horrific. But fast forward nearly 2 years, I've got a really successful business. I'm growing a membership, which is phenomenal, full of amazing ADHD entrepreneurs and people who have got hidden disabilities and illnesses, etc. And helping them to understand that they can be better if they work with their brain. Because I think one of the things, we're told constantly that we have to be a millionaire. We have to be making 10
Yes.
grand months. We have to be doing this. It's like, well, what happens if we don't want to? What
Yeah. It's a
happens
lot of
if we're
stress,
happy?
a lot of pressure.
What happens if we're happy to make 5 grand months? What happens if we're
Yeah.
just happy to make enough money for our families to survive and have a little bit of money left over to invest in our business?
Yeah.
But it's all about the planning. It's about getting your pricing right. It's about knowing who your target audience is and what are they prepared to pay? Because I've had so many different businesses which actually have failed because I haven't got my pricing right. So I am not a business finance expert,
No.
but I am an expert on personal finances, and I have been through every single money story that you can possibly imagine. My house burnt down. I lost everything that I owned, literally everything. I had to rebuild my life on £1,000.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I've had a story, and I've got a journey here. Like, wrong way
Yeah.
around. I've had a journey. I've got a story. But it's been a really, really big roller coaster. And I've also learned one of the biggest lessons. You need to love what you do to build a sustainable business. So I have had many a business idea, and if anyone watching this is neurodivergent and you know what you're like, I have not coined the term because it was around already, but I'm a multi-potentialite. I do all of the things, but I do all of the things for one specific set of people, like entrepreneurs who have got ADHD, hidden disabilities, or like who are disabled, essentially. But all of the things that I do for those people. I have multiple streams of revenue, and the reason I do that is not so that I can become a millionaire, because you know what, I'm actually not that materialistic, and I really don't care about that.
No.
For me,
Yeah.
having multiple streams of revenue is a safety net for my business in case I decide that one of my businesses I don't like the sound of anymore and I can't be bothered. Because let's face it, that happens when you've got ADHD, and quite often. So
No, you're absolutely right there, because I learned very quickly that I like to have, if I have different income streams coming in from different places, then that means I can then say, right, this one needs upgrading, improving, tweaking, changing, switching, whatever. And I can actually spend the time doing it, making it how I want, making it better,
yeah,
deliver a better service for the clients, whatever that is. And knowing that I'm not under stress and pressure to quickly bring cash in because I'm covered. And now it does take a while to build up to that. And I think
absolutely.
one of the things that prevented me when I very first started out was where I had to use the business money. I earned the money in the business, and as a sole trader, most of us start out on that basis. I had to use most of that money, obviously, paying my business subscriptions and things, but I had to use most of the money to take it to live on. And that
Yeah,
left me, so I was in this loop of not being able to invest in things. And then when I did, I would see something, I think, oh, brilliant. And typical of, well, a neurodivergent brain, if we see something that's going to fix it, we just want to fix it there and then. And
yeah,
quite often, and here's the rub, and what we are going to cover on the event as well, in Funnelcraft, because funnels, if you don't like them or not, you need all the components. And then a very core component of having your own business is the money, everything that
it
you said,
is.
and
Yeah,
how we use it. And so many people, they don't offer any, don't give you extra time if to hand in any any work for it, or they say you're on this program for 3 months, and if you haven't done it, you get caught in that, well, you just didn't do it properly, you got to try harder. And it's like, you know what, we've had enough of that, we're not taking any notice. Or we feel that we can't sort of get in and involved in a big Zoom meeting, for example, because today we just can't do people, and so then we miss out, and then we get this this extra sort of tax on our time, and then we just
yeah,
leave it. It's too much. And so we spent the money, we haven't been able to fix the problem, or we've bought something that we assumed would fix the problem, but perhaps the inference on what was supplied to us wasn't what we had actually wanted, because we didn't really know exactly what we wanted and needed. So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think this is the thing. Like in my first year of business, I spent over £20,000 on self-improvement.
yeah.
Some of that was valid and justified, like my qualifications. I don't think I would be where I am now without being a neurodiversity and business strategist. I think those are really core things.
Yeah.
But I've joined masterminds, I've joined memberships. There are so many different things that I've spent money on. I actually did a TikTok this morning about telling people to review their subscriptions, not
Mm.
just their personal subscriptions, but their business ones as well. I do this on a monthly basis as standard, because I sign up for stuff because I get FOMO. FOMO is like the biggest business failure
Yeah.
thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all want to do the things, and we all get suckered in by the like carts closing tomorrow. Carts closing tomorrow. You have to get in now, because otherwise you're not going to get it.
And then your
Um,
business is going to fail, a life over, and
fail.
quite frankly, stop showing up.
Every
That's it. It's
yeah,
the end of the world.
yeah. Everyone's gonna die, and it's all
Yeah,
gonna be like
yeah,
it's gonna
yeah.
be
It's going to be
horrific.
rubbish.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the amount of times that I look back and I do a business audit of myself every year, and I've actually recently put myself on a spending ban
Mm.
because I realised that I had spent this year probably about similar amount, probably about £18,000 on self improvement. I've bought all the courses, I've joined the memberships, I've done the thing, and actually I haven't shown up for those things because I've been really busy with all the things that actually I know already. So
Yes.
when you're buying stuff as a business owner, take that into consideration. Like, think about, what are the skills that you've got? Do you really need to improve those skills? Like, probably not,
And if you do
And,
you need to improve them right now? Right
and
this
can you
minute?
yeah, and can you
We're
learn them
looking
for
for that
free?
presentation of, oh, I can't do this because I don't have that. Is that true? And that's that, therein lies the crunch, is because I think, as if you have a neurodivergent brain, I think especially with ADHD, is because we haven't had the life experiences that have told us we can trust our own decision making, because we've
Oh,
been
yeah.
misunderstood or things are wrong, a lifetime of that. We therefore do have more of an issue with our own trust in our own decision making. It's
I
almost
have
like
no
we need
doubt.
permission. We
Yeah.
need permission, or we go, I don't need permission, I'm going to do it anyway, and actually we haven't thought it through.
It's
So
the impulsivity when you're running a
yeah,
business
yeah,
is the thing that costs you the most money.
yeah, absolutely,
And also, there are other things like ADHD tax that come into business, like not signing, not reading the small print. Like, prime example of my business debt, I was a limited company, and I assumed that limited by liability meant that, like, my debts, wouldn't be mine, but they were. Personal guarantees exist, and I learned the hard way, and I'm still paying that debt off today, very gradually, because I really can't be asked with it. It's one of those things where I'm like, do you know what? Is it stressing me out? No. Do I have to, is anyone chasing me? No. Am I paying the minimum? Yes. Am I going to clear it at some point?
yes,
So it's about prioritization. Planning in business is really important from a money perspective side of things, and but also finding your tribe, finding your community where you
mm,
can learn at a low cost. And that's the whole reason why I set up my membership,
yeah,
because I was so
yeah,
sick of spending so much money learning from people who didn't have the same brain as me. And I wanted to bring together a load of business people who actually, just get it. And, they're all focused on their own visibility. So, like, my core themes in my whole business life, like, be seen, be heard, be accountable, be unstoppable. That I'm going
yeah.
to get a t-shirt with that. I'm getting a t-shirt with that because I feel like it's needed.
I
But
think
I
you
think
should,
it's,
100%.
and then I'm going to sell them, and that's another income stream, right?
Oh, this is going to be so. I'm so looking forward to the whole event. I've been there. Every single one of my speakers, I have. I know personally now. I've had lots of communication. I've either worked with them, or they've worked with me, or I've been in their memberships, or all sorts of things. And
Yeah,
so the Funnelcraft, it's really, really important that I know that when I say to people, this is how I'd like the event to go, people have jumped at it. They go, yes, we switch this, don't we? This type of event. Events are really tricky live in person. That's why we are doing the virtual tickets, for the same price.
yeah,
Because also you can buy something for the day, and there's nothing worse than when you've got an ND brain or an ADHD brain, or people experience not being able to show up for something anyway.
yeah,
Um, you can switch it, and you can still participate at home. Do you know what I mean? If that's the
yeah,
case, but I want to say that all the speakers, including yourself, we're all here, we're all on hand, and everybody's approachable, and everybody's bringing their own communities of people with them. So
yeah,
there's going to be enough people there. We've also got somebody dedicated for the day just to go to for that, one person to deal with any issues. We've got quiet rooms. It's not the hugest of events, but you know what? It doesn't need to be. It just needs to
no,
be inclusive.
absolutely. And if you're at the event and you feel like you're struggling, I am the most approachable person in the world, and
Yeah,
I will always ask you if you want a hug, and if the answer is yes, I will give you one.
yeah. I love it. Well, let's end on that, because will then, it won't be long, we've been able to help.
Yeah, exciting.
Anyway, thank you so much, Maddie, for your
So
precious time
welcome.
today. Letting us know all about you and what's going on, and talking about Funnelcraft, the event. So come and get your tickets, folks, and yeah, see you there.
See you there.